right, welcome to the Resurrection in Progress, and it's day 17, early in the morning. The day has just started, or maybe it's already going on sometime. I don't know how that is for you, but we're starting here today with, the miracle work. Is in fact what we do on the Friday. And what that entails today, you will see. So I was tempted to read today's lesson, and actually would love to go through it with you. And that's, I'm under no laws but God's. I'm under no laws but God's. And well, that's a comforting and great idea. And but what does it exactly mean, and what are the consequences? So, like, do I need to accept that? Is that really true? Is that, or is there a way out of it? Is there some, how does this law actually work? What does it mean? So this and more we will discover in this miracle work. And it's a great, beautiful lesson. It's lesson 76 from the text for Course in Miracles, or of the Course in Miracles in general. Like if you read the regular book, the blue book, it really does not matter. So it has the same message in that sense. And but I read it from the text just because I love the book, and I love the the references that are in there. So, are you ready for some miracle lesson today? That would be great. All right, so here we go. I'm under no laws but God's. So we were talking the other day about senseless things, and we continue with that too. The senseless things that we thought we needed. But here, I'm under no laws but God's. We have observed before how many senseless things we have seemed to you to be salvation. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. You are not bound by them, yet to understand that this is so, you must first realize salvation lies not there. While you seek for it in things that have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. So this is great. This is a beautiful start. Like, you don't understand, but you have been looking for salvation. You've been looking for salvation in senseless things, it appears now. It's like, these are senseless things. I looked for salvation in my relationship. Well, if I had a relationship with this person, then I would be saved. If I had money like that coming in, then I would be saved. If my health was better, then I would be saved. If I had children, then I would be saved. If I had a great study and found a job that I actually like, then I would be saved. Like, it was always conditional, always a conditional setup for yourself. What did it do to you? Well, looking back at it, it actually bound you, it binds you to the idea that that would be your salvation. You work for it. You do all the things that you do for it in order to achieve something that you think you don't have right now. And this is exactly where the problem starts. All right, so continuing. This is the warming up. I love this lesson. It's great. So, thus you seek to prove salvation where it is not, it says in L2. Today we will be glad you cannot prove it, for if you could, you would forever seek where it is not and never find it. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. Look for it where it waits for you, and there it can be found. Look nowhere else, for it is nowhere else. So that was the lesson, in fact. That's the whole instruction. Look for it where it can be found. It is not there where you thought it was. So you don't have to look there any longer. So the actual thing that's occurring now is if you start to accept this idea and start to demonstrate it in your affairs, in your doings, then you see that you actually save yourself a tremendous lot of time. So, and it doesn't mean, so this is another thing, it doesn't mean that you cannot be in a relationship, that you are not allowed to earn money, or that you do this or that. No, it has nothing to do with it. So it is not about keeping yourself away from this, but it has everything to do with, it is definitely not my salvation. I know where my salvation is. It's very simple. It is in me. That's where it is being found. And we go to that later on too. It's like, that's where it's found. It is not outside myself, however hard I try to find it there. See, and this is an action of mind that you're so accustomed to in your humanness. It's like you want the salvation to be there, and you tempt yourself to think that way. Like, well, looking at this, it's a really beautiful story. It looks like a great image. Shall I not consider it as being something for me that would, maybe if I have that or do that, or, then something would change in the right direction, wouldn't it? And you come up with all kinds of ideas, like it's literally your mind has a focus on one thing. Well, you got to, all the associations will support the idea. You know this, right? It's like, okay, here's my favorite telephone. I can come up with millions of arguments why I would have this thing, or whatever the thing is, it really doesn't matter. But it's like, this is how the economy is like boosting all the time, because you think, like people think, that their salvation is in the thing that's being presented with an image. Well, we saw that years ago with smoking ads. You see a cowboy in a nice scenery smoking a cigarette, and everyone wants to smoke cigarettes or stuff like that. And I don't think that has become less available to us. Like if I open my telephone, for instance, and I search on the net, I see all kinds of ads, all kinds of say things popping up, telling me that I need the thing that they are actually providing us. So there's a whole, even a subconscious thing going on, if you allow that for you. So there's a whole subconscious hypnosis going on, of course, in which you slowly but certainly see, like, yes, I need that. Absolutely. I definitely need that, of course. And why not? It becomes common knowledge that you do these things, and before you know it, you become this part of the machinery, as Gurdjieff would say. It's like you become a machine, a robot, we would say in these years. Like you become the consuming robot that thinks that it needs all kinds of things because it believes what it sees. So that's interesting how that works, isn't it? So that's why it's really good to put a thing down to whatever information you're receiving, closing your eyes and seeing, like, well, my salvation is definitely not coming from where I think it is or where I prove to myself it is. It is not coming from there. Let's be quiet. Let's be still. Let's sink right here into this moment and connect with myself, well, at least take a moment to dislodge yourself from the timeline and take time to be, say, in communication with yourself, your inner self. Like if you take time to do that, you see, like, everything is given in this moment. Everything is happening right now. Like unbelievable possibility for fulfillment. I don't need anything from that. So the more you allow yourself to sink deeply into that experience, the more you see, like, why would I need that for? Does it mean that you don't use these things? Yeah, sure, you can still use them, but you know that your salvation does not come from it. So this is part of the training that is being presented here. I love that. It's a great, so this is a great lesson. And we continue. So I'm reading the third paragraph. Think of the freedom and the recognition that you're not bound by all the strange and twisted laws which you have set up to save you. You really think, and here are some examples in case you didn't know, you really think that you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips or euro bills or who knows what currency you're paying and receiving in. You really think that you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs. You really think, oh, this is another one, look at this. So it's the medical coming in. You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off death. Here's another one, companionship. You really think you are alone unless another body is with you. Okay, I think it's time for a little interlude. So pulling up a whiteboard here, because I love to cooperate with you. And the question then is, where did you look for salvation? Movies. Where were you tempted to look for salvation this last week? Well, great if you're in silence. A direct asteroid hit. Looking for salvation in a direct asteroid hit. I love that. Oh, watching spiritual videos. Ah, that's a good one too. I love that. I love it. Thank you for your honesty, all. Thank you. So that's so great. Looking for salvation and watching spiritual videos. I love that one too. Okay, so we certainly had our places to go, and some of us were like looking for it in the place where it could be found too. They were tempted to look in the place where it could be found. All right, so leaving that for what it is, but thank you for your honesty. Oh yeah, it is insanity that think these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalogue of rituals that have no purpose, have no use, and serve no purpose. Wow, here we go. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. Protect the body and you will be saved. These are not laws, but are madness. These are not laws, but are madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. The body suffers that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. It is from this your laws would save the body. It is for this you think you are a body. Okay, so there are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over and over and over and over again until you realize that it applies to everything that you have made in opposition to his will. Your magic has no meaning. What it meant to save does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. So that's a deep one here. So there are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over until you realize that it applies to everything you have made in opposition to his will. Your magic, like the medical magic, your financial magic, your relationship magic, has no meaning. What it is meant to save, what does it save? You in your bodily existence does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide, your holiness, will save you. Only your holiness will save you, is in fact what it says here. The laws of God can never be replaced. We will devote today to rejoicing that this is so. It is no longer a truth which we would hide. We realize instead it is truth which keeps us free forever. Magic imprisons, but the laws of God set free. The light has come because there are no laws but his. We will begin the longer practice periods today with a short review of the different kinds of laws we have believed we must obey. These would include, for example, the laws of nutrition, the laws of immunization, medication, and of the body's protection in innumerable ways. Think further. You believe in laws of friendship, in good relationships, and reciprocity. I do something for you, you do something for me. And I do something for you, and I expect you to do something for me. Perhaps you even think that there are laws which set forth that what is God's and what is yours. Many religions have been based on this. They would not save, but damn in heaven's name. Yet they are no more strange than other laws you hold must be obeyed to make you safe. There are no laws but God's. Dismiss all foolish magical beliefs today and hold your mind in silent readiness to hear the voice that speaks the truth to you. You will be listening to one who says there is no loss under the laws of God. Payment is neither given nor received. Exchange cannot be made. There are no substitutes, and nothing is replaced by something else. God's laws forever give and never take away. Hear him who tells you this and realize how foolish are the laws you thought upheld the world you thought you saw. Then listen further. He will tell you more about the love your Father has for you, about the endless joy he offers you, about his yearning for his Son, created as his channel for creation, denied to him by his belief in hell. Let us today open God's channels to him, and let his will extend through us to him. Thus is creation endlessly increased. His voice will speak of this to us, as well as of the joys of heaven, which keeps laws, which his laws keeps limitless forever. We will now repeat today's idea until we have listened and understood. There are no laws but God's. Then we will tell ourselves as a dedication with which the practice period concludes. I'm under no laws but God's. We will repeat this dedication as often as possible today, at least 4 or 5 times an hour, as well as in response to any temptation to experience ourselves as subjects to other laws throughout the day. It is our statement of freedom from all danger and all tyranny. It is our acknowledgement that God is our Father and that his Son is saved. So here's the exercise. Let us today open God's channels to him and let his will extend through us to him. We will repeat today's idea until we have listened and understood. There are no laws but God's. So we will have a moment of quiet to let this sink in. Well, recognizing that that's the truth about ourselves. I am under no laws but God's. All the laws are made up. Have nothing to do with who I truly am. Has nothing to do with it. So let's take a moment to dive into that. I am under no laws but God's. All right. Thank you so much for practicing this with me. So what I would love to share with you this, say regarding this lesson is this, like yes, God's laws are setting you free from other laws that you made up. It sets you free of that by realizing, oh, yes, there's no laws but God's. Oh, great. So does that prevent you from having ideas about where salvation could be, as a temptation, or thinking that, well, maybe you should try this or try that? Does it set you free from thoughts that are coming up to look for the temptation, to look for other laws that might work? No, it does not. So this is always good to realize. So it is also okay to think that your salvation is there, at least to have these thoughts and look at it and say, like, oh my God, look what I'm thinking. I really think that my salvation is coming from somewhere else. That's amazing. What I'm actually trying to say here is this, is like, these thoughts will come up because, hey, that is all right. It's like thoughts come up in your consciousness. All kinds of thoughts come up about everything. You have an idea about everything, is what I'm saying. Like, and it is not to you to judge these thoughts. It's like, it's not about trying to control these thoughts. No, they come up, they pop up. That's all right. The next thing is the action is the ball is in your court, so to speak. What are you going to do with it? Are you engaging with them? Are you pursuing them? Are you doing this or that? Like that would give the idea energy, and you're actually going to demonstrate your attempt to use these ideas for your salvation. And that is something you don't have to do anymore. So this is always good to know. Otherwise you think like, well, I'm still thinking these things. I still have ideas about this body. I have still ideas about companionship or relationships or financial situation or political situation or medical situation. And that's all right to have ideas about it. It's all right, because you cannot stop your mind from thinking. But the part that is connected to your will is, what are you going to do with it? Are you recognizing it as just another one of those that you, like one of the magical beliefs that you have, that something outside yourself could fulfill you and make you complete? Yeah, you live that until you don't live that. You're going to pursue it until you don't. And that's perfectly all right. Like, that's all part of the process too. If you allow yourself to stand still and realize for a moment, like, well, let's take a look at this. What am I actually thinking? What is it? It's like there's a concealment where it was talking about in the book too. It's like you conceal where it's really about. You think it's about the form. You're like, if I have that form, then it would be all right. If I had that, then I would be okay. So what does it cover? And that's the idea of thinking that something there could fulfill you. That's one thing that's behind all of this. Is like, you in fact skip the option that is already yours. This is where you start to come into time, into trouble, so to speak, and you literally step into time. It's going to take a moment for you to discover. If you make this real, it's going to take a while to discover, no, that's not it. And this time is going to be saved when you stand still and first connect with, wait a minute, my kingdom is not of this world, as Jesus would say. Like, my kingdom is not of this world. Where am I looking for salvation? I really think that that's going to do it? No, I need help here, because I'm really tempted to step into that. But today I decide to stand still and give myself a moment to stand right here, to stay in my newfound certainty of, well, that's not it. I don't know exactly how it's looking and where my salvation can be found, but it's not there. I know that it's not there. So I'm going to start the experiment with myself in my mind to use this in a whole different way. by standing still and listening instead of acting and pursuing. You stand still, you give yourself another 10 seconds at least, and maybe more, another 10 days before you do anything. And you'll see that things change. Things change because you, in fact, align your focus with the purpose of the universe. Well, you think you're not going to be supported by doing so? Yes, you are. It was the lesson you needed to learn. And that, that when you give up one of the goals that you wanted to achieve, when you give up that, you already feel free of the burden to get something or to achieve something. And that takes off all the pressure and all the stress related to it. So in fact, you could say this is a very spiritual healing lesson that actually is given to you, because it saves you all the agony and stress and unrest of trying to achieve a goal for your salvation, for your comfort and safety, but what will never work. Like, it saves you all that. It saves you pursuing that. It saves you investing in that. It saves you the, say, losing yourself and having to return back again to where you started in the first place. That's the same thing, and you can repeat this in all kinds of scenarios. You can find this back. It's like, in the end, in fact, you're only meeting yourself. You think you do things for a certain reason, for your salvation. You step into this relationship, and oh, it's so great, and that will fulfill me and make me complete. And in fact, you end up with yourself and realizing that's not what it was looking like in the beginning. Or, it's like you go through hoops, you could in fact say death episodes, because you will die in the idea that what you think you want to achieve, you will never achieve. Like, it will lose all its value. Even in the moment of achievement, it can lose all its value, like it's nothing, and you will see it. It might take a moment for you to admit it, still making it to something, like literally adding things to it so it might look like something, but in the end it will fall apart. That's so great to discover it like this. So now, learning from this lesson, standing still, it's like, I'm going to listen, I'm going to stand still. I'm looking for salvation somewhere else. I have this idea in my mind. I'm looking for salvation in a place where I will never find it. I know there's nothing outside of me that will ever fulfill me. And not from a depressed state of mind. No, from the recognition of your true selfhood, your true self. That's where you connect with. It's like, I want it from here. If I don't have it now, the hell with it. I don't want it. If this moment isn't complete, it will never be complete. This is the time that all is given, everything is here. Perfection is like completely presented here. That's all that it ever took. So we're returning back to this present moment continuously to recognize everything is given. Oh, I didn't have to do that. I'm so happy to be home again, to be in this presence, in this, yes, here it is. Unbelievable. Can you imagine? I didn't have to run for it. I didn't have to do whatever I needed to do. All the things that we do as human beings, or like if you look at the whole idea of all the drama that's connected to thinking that, of all the drama that's connected, in fact, to the disappointment of having that as your salvation set, but it's not working out. How much frustration is connected to that? How much despair and suffering? Unbelievable. I don't have to give you examples of that. You just look at your life, look at what happened, where you looked for salvation, what incredible drama it had become. And also in admitting it, that it didn't work out. Admitting it that it didn't work out. You know, that's so amazing. Got my book out. So here it says this, the guarantee of heaven, it's called. And I'm reading it from the second paragraph. Nothing in this world can give this peace, for nothing in this world is wholly shared. Perfect perception can merely show you what is capable of being wholly shared. It can also show you the results of sharing, while you still remember the result of not sharing. The Holy Spirit points quietly to the contrast, knowing that you will finally let him judge the difference for you, allowing him to demonstrate which must be true. He has perfect faith in your final judgment because he knows that he will make it for you. To doubt this would be to doubt that his mission will be fulfilled. How is this possible when his mission is of God's? So we continue in 7 here. God willed you heaven and will always will you nothing else. God willed you heaven and will always will you nothing else. The Holy Spirit knows only of his will. There is no chance that heaven will not be yours, for God is true, and what he wills is sure as he is. You will learn salvation because you will learn how to save. It will not be possible to exempt yourself from what the Holy Spirit wills to teach you. Salvation is as sure as God. His certainty suffices. Learn that even the darkest nightmare that disturbed the mind of God's sleeping Son holds no power over him. He will learn the lesson of awaking. God watches over him and light surrounds him. Wow, thank you. That's amazing. So this is our prayer then for today. So salvation is taken care of. It's like wherever you look for salvation, where it cannot be found, you will return to the place where you will find it, and you have great help. So in this, it's like, here's the guarantee of heaven. Here it is given to you as certainty, like that you can count on. So whatever wild nightmare you might have for just a moment, you will return to this, and you will come to it, because it's literally the gift of your Father to you. Like, you have nothing to say about that. You can try do wild things looking for salvation somewhere, sure, and we all did and do, but now your guarantee is right here. Like, you did not lose heaven in any way. That's impossible. And that's great. Like, that is your state of being, in fact, in this moment. This is given to you right here, right now. It is not happening another time, unless you think it does. So the rest has no power. It is just a temporary insanity, and just a temporary glitch in your nightmare, in your sleep, so to speak. It's a nightmare. That is all. Recognizing that, you come into heaven, like you see that you're surrounded by light, Everything is dissolving. This world is disappearing. All the things that seemed so important a moment ago literally dissolve. So in that light, in the recognition of that light, and in the direct experience of that light, is where we meet, where we communicate as one. And that is happening right now. So great. That's so great. So thank you for letting me share this with you, because you see, it is shared. This is the place where you recognize it is true, because it is shared. This is not some idea tried to sell you or something. No, in your recognition, your full acceptance of this, because it is true, it becomes yours. You recognize that it is yours. That's so great. So it's a shared idea. And you don't have to pay anything for it. There's no charge. There's no reciprocity. There's no demands. That it's unconditional. It is peace itself. It is what you are. So how could you ever lose that? See, that certainty is given here. You're in the no laws but God's, and God's laws are the laws of God. So here's the other instruction then: teach only love, because that is what you are. You know, that is the invitation. Teach, demonstrate only love, because that is what you are. Well, thank you so much for letting me share this with you. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you.